Hey everybody, hey, welcome back to the 53206 cast. I'm Alex.
And I'm Meg.
And this is a podcast, Meg.
Yeah.
This is a podcast specifically designed to help the listener understand a little bit more what it might be like to live in an area of concentrated poverty. Meg, we've had a nice little uptick in downloads lately.
Okay.
Which just means that more people are listening.
Yeah, I would assume that.
I don't think it's the robots. I don't think the robots are doing it. I think it's actual human beings. Which, you know, Meg, when I see the numbers for the downloads, it just tells me that there's obviously more people are aware of the podcast, which is great.
Yeah.
But really the thing is that more people care.
Yeah.
Or at least want to take the time to learn, okay, well, here's something that I might want to be thinking about when it comes to an area of concentrated poverty, specifically for us, the inner city of Milwaukee.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, Meg, this is part 2. This is part 2
yes.
of the conversation on Snap. And,
yeah.
you know, when we were thinking about, part 1, we were kind of just, throwing out the concept that, nobody really wants something like Snap to have to exist.
Yeah, I think we can all be on board with we don't think, I don't think that people should have to rely on something or someone. And, it's so interesting that I feel like when we talk about, poverty and systemic racism, we talk about this big knot. And I was doing laundry today. Okay. And I was...
Did you come across a knot?
I decluttered so many things today.
Right.
I feel like
Can't wait to see it.
Don't know that I ever declutter. I don't know that I've ever decluttered as much in the kitchen today, but I was going through just a lot of our drawers, and I realized I hadn't ever cleaned
the kitchen.
No, not that. Any of the aprons. We have little kids' aprons still, and I'm like. Okay, our kids are big, we should give these away. And so I wanted to wash them before I gave them away.
Okay.
And so I had 2 nice little kid aprons, and so I put them in the wash, and they got tangled in everything.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're always yeah. Yeah, shut up, okay? I didn't realize it.
Whatever.
I'm not going to throw them away because they're nice. They're cute little ones that I feel like people would like.
Okay.
And or I'll give them to Goodwill.
Sure.
And so as I was untangling this knot, I was thinking about poverty and systemic racism, and because I was I just wanted to yank all the stuff, and I knew if I yanked it, that would just make it tighter. And
sure.
I it really made me think of where we are in our society today, and how we almost need to take a step back in order to go forward.
Okay.
Like a knot, you need to take a step back, you need to undo it. And, just the whole area of poverty is such a knot with so many different entanglements that it was just a good reminder for me. We talk about that a lot, and I thought, this was a real tangible thing.
Yeah. So, Meg, on part 2, I kind of makes sense. When somebody reaches out for something related to We Got This, you can fill out the contact form, or there's an email specifically for that. But, you're usually the one that 99 times out of 100, you're the one responding to the email or the phone call or, whatever.
Yeah.
And you had a personal connection with an individual that was in need of things.
Yeah.
The only reason why we would even bring up an individual on the podcast is just to help somebody that has never been in this situation understand a little bit better what somebody that is in this situation would be potentially going through.
And I know you just said we never really tell stories, but I'd like to tell the story.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't gonna tell.
Okay. So let's figure out a different name for her.
How about Tracy?
Tracy. Okay. Can it start with an M?
How about Melinda?
Melinda. Okay. Sure. I was gonna say Macy. I feel like Tracy.
Oh,
Macy.
like Tracy.
Yeah.
I don't care what the fake name is.
Okay. Let's go with Macy. I feel like that's a good one. Okay. So Macy, we've actually known Macy for a very long time, and
long time.
We knew her when she was little. to be
Little
honest.
Macy.
We knew Little Macy. And I feel like we may have talked about this this particular person before, but we knew her a long time ago, and so we know her history, we know her family. And so, you know, we've kept in touch with her. You know, I'll text her a lot of times, you know, just telling her, you know, I'm rooting for you. And like, I feel like my mom is a really good cheerleader for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Macy does not have any cheerleaders. So a lot of times I'll text her and just cheer her on.
Yeah. I mean, cause anybody can use a cheerleader.
Yeah. You're doing a great
job.
But,
you know, in particular, you know, if you've got, circumstances that make your life maybe a little bit more challenging than someone else's, a nice, you know, cheerleader's a nice thing.
So, so I was, what was it? I think it was Wednesday. I got done with a meeting, and she said, "Can you give me a call?" So I gave her a call, and she was crying, and you know, so I was like, you know, Macy, what's going on? What's going on? You know, like just tell me, you know. And she's really good about just like she'll just unload everything to me. You know, she doesn't have a lot of people in her life where she can just kind of unload everything. Her mom is not really, it doesn't have the capacity for that kind of stuff. And so she'll call me sometimes and just unload. And so, you know, she said my SNAP benefits, you know, they got suspended. Like I don't have a card. I'm getting the new card, but it's like, it's not in the mail yet. And she's like, you know, she's taking care of, like, she has 2 kids, and then she's also taking care of, her siblings, cause her mom doesn't have the capacity. And, you know, so she's got 4 kids, you know, I think, you know, a 12-year-old, and 2 11-year-olds, and then a 2-year-old. And, you know, she's like, I don't have any money. I don't have, you know, I just don't have anything. And she's just saying how tired she is. And I can just hear in her voice just how much she's been trying and how exhausting it is. You know, she's trying to get the kids to school. She's trying to get them fed. You know, she's just exhausted. And so, you know, she's just talking, and I hear some of the kids in the background, and it's like 11 a.m. And I was like, hey, why are the kids there? Why aren't they in school? You know, like you're struggling with getting food. Like why, like if you send them to school, like they would get food. And she's like, I don't have any laundry detergent, and so they don't have any clean clothes. And that just really broke my heart. I thought, you aren't sending your kids to school, you know, because you don't want them to be the stinky kids. I know that we know the kids, like they have, I'm not going to say they've been kicked out of We Got This several times, but they have been on the fence many, many times because they're just I feel like they're, and I feel like you could probably say better about why they, like, their behavior is more challenging than
sure,
than, you know, a lot of the other kids.
Yeah, they do, just like other kids, they have a hard time being inside of structure.
Yes. That's a good way of putting it. And so, you know, so she just felt like she felt so bad. She kept apologizing to me, and she kept saying, you know, I should have gotten the SNAP stuff figured out. Like, I have money. I can't get to it. And she's like, I don't know, like, you know, I've been to food places. They don't have a lot of stuff right now. And she wasn't necessarily even asking me for anything. She was just like calling to vent. And I think the laundry soap kind of got to me. You know, and I said, I think we can try to get you, you know, some laundry soap. And, you know, then she kind of went on, and she's been trying to get her GED for the last 2 years. You know, I've been following her with this, you know, like, keep on it. You're doing great. The 2-year-old broke the laptop.
Okay.
And so, you know, she doesn't have a laptop, and she's like, you know, I'm just so frustrated. Like, you know, February, I was supposed to graduate. I was going to be at the US Cellular Arena. Like, I'm just so mad. And, you know, like, this is like the second or third time that she has like had a date where she's going to graduate, and it hasn't been able to come to fruition just because of something that, you know, like one of the kids did by accident, or, you know, and again, she's just apologizing, and she's like, you know, I should be doing better. And it's like, no, you can't, like, this is where you're at in life right now. And it's unfair. It's unfair that this is where she is in life. It's unfair that, you know, that that hasn't been given a lot of opportunity to, get out of poverty.
Well, yeah. And when you were talking, that kind of reminded me of a couple of things. The first is that it's never a great spot to be in when you're reliant on someone else or some other system or program, something like that. That's never a good spot to be in. You're waiting for, even as a contractor, like I'm waiting around for some other person to approve my permit request or something, or I'm waiting for the plumber to come over. That's never a great spot to be in. And so, she knows that she has funds available to her. She knows that she could rectify this problem, but there's a hurdle in the way, and that hurdle is the direct result of, being born into a situation where she's reliant on these types of things. And having watched her and some of her siblings grow up, you don't want to say that. You never want to pigeonhole somebody into a pathway for their life. But, I think if you had watched the same things that I had watched, you probably would think very differently about where she's at today versus, where our kids might be in, when they're her age. And, But again, being in a position where you are reliant on somebody to mail you a card so you can access money to buy laundry soap so you feel comfortable sending your kids to school. I mean, that's a terrible place to be in.
Yeah.
And I think that's a place that should elicit a sense of empathy from anybody that's listening. And if you don't feel that way, that's fine. But it because Meg, some of the things that you're always very careful to share a story in a way that isn't going to immediately, or at least in your mind, immediately cause someone to look at an individual with judgment. But because you said a couple of things like, okay, well, not sending the kids to school, like that's not, you probably, sending the kids to school is a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, and keeping your devices available, so that you can complete your schooling, those kinds of things. Like, it's really easy to sit and to judge somebody for the decisions that they make or the decisions that they make without them even realizing it.
Yeah, but I think about our 10-year-old
exactly
stepping on his laptop, and we had to during COVID or however old he was, but he stepped on it and we had to buy him a new one. Right. And so I think if you really do think about it, kids do stupid stuff, and I think even you said the other day, we can't judge people because we're no one's perfect.
Right. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Otherwise you could just sit and judge me all day long.
Yeah.
Which anyways, so what did you learn about, what did you learn about yourself, or what did you learn about just sort of our general societal structures from that interaction?
I think it was one more time that my eyes were opened up to, this is one more way that I wouldn't have thought that this that this would be a reason for somebody to not send their kid to school. And I think when as a parent, I think I want my kids, I don't want my kid to be the stinky kid. Sure. And you want the best for your kids, and you don't want your kid to be the dirty, stinky kid. And so I can really relate to that. And I can relate to
our kid sometimes is the dirty.
I know. Yeah.
It's his own fault though.
Yeah. But I think it was just one more way of, I wouldn't have ever thought that laundry soap would be a reason that a kid doesn't go to school.
Yeah. I can't really remember the last time that I was in a situation where I didn't feel like I was at least putting out a decent version of myself or my kids, out into the world. And it's a lot of it comes down to having margin and space available and life experiences that let you kind of tackle problems that come up
Mm-hmm.
and be prepared
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah.
But when you have so little margin and so little space in your life, a hurdle like a broken laptop, like actually has real
Mm-hmm.
or can feel like it has real consequences.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So do you want to talk about what happened?
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Okay.
I mean, it was, I feel like the outcome was great. I mean, as great as it could be, but, I had one of the lunch ladies from We Got This. She had been emailing me that, is there a family in need? Is there a family in need? And so I actually called her up and said, hey, got a family in need. You want to help out? And yeah, so she took care of it. Did the Walmart, Walmart delivery to her house, and, toothbrushes, toothpaste, laundry soap, food, a bunch of good stuff.
Yeah. That I want to dig into that a little bit. The fact that she was emailing you and asking you that,
Mm-hmm.
because I just remember a bunch of times growing up where my dad would sort of just stumble upon somebody on the highway or just driving around where they needed help with their car.
And your dad's really, he's
Great at that
Yeah.
stuff.
he
He does it in his free time for fun.
Didn't he used to be a mechanic, and isn't he almost still a mechanic?
Yeah, and volunteers to
Yeah.
fix cars at a church
Yeah.
Down in Illinois. And it wouldn't shock me if he had like this disposition toward the world where, and I don't know. I mean, I've never asked him. I don't know if he would say it this way or not. This isn't unique to him by any means. But I would wonder if he would say that sometimes he was looking out for opportunities to help somebody that needed something.
Yeah.
And I think that is, because some of the stuff that we try to do on this podcast is we try to like name feelings or attitudes toward the world that relate to poverty and relate to mitigating some of the effects of poverty. And it wouldn't surprise me if just having a disposition where you are on the lookout for opportunities to help is actually one of the things that we all should be doing.
Yeah.
And, I know the individual that you're talking about that offered to help, and I know her to be the type of person, along with many other people. In fact, all of the lunch ladies
Oh my gosh, yeah.
They do this constantly,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
why I think that they are lunch ladies. But, and again, not unique to anybody can do this. It doesn't. You don't have to be a lunch lady. You don't even have to be a lunch man. But the disposition towards just being on the lookout for people that you can help. I think particularly if you live somewhere where there aren't a lot of people that need your help. One thing that I would recommend is to develop that disposition where you kind of are constantly on the lookout. Because, Meg, you remember after George Floyd was murdered, one of the things that I noticed from my colleagues in the school district, and we had these, we did the book studies, and we would have these, I don't know if we called them this, but like crucial conversations on race.
Okay.
Well, I think the name is silly. That's why I'm laughing. But
Yeah.
Not the race part. That you call it that.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah.
But so many people would say, "I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do."
Yeah.
And it was always a little tricky for me to say, and I don't even know if it was really my place to say anything. But it was, but living in a zip code that's 99% African American and not being African American, I think I got at least a little bit of things that I could say.
And that's why we started the podcast.
Also why we right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But what I would really try to explain to them is like, you just are kind of mentally aware of opportunities to right a wrong that has existed for 200, 300 years.
Yeah.
But with individuals that have a bent towards caring about the poor, you really are you're just looking for opportunities. And you're open to opportunities, and you're asking for opportunities, whether you're asking the universe or God or people that you know that are in close contact with a lot of people that could use a hand from time to time. Like that's kind of the thing.
And I think another way to do something is like opening your eyes about something. And I think like by listening to this podcast, like you're getting a different view of something and you're able to think about it and, maybe agree or disagree with us on some things and be able to talk it out with your people. But like, open your eyes to something. I know one of the ladies who she volunteers at that We Got This Garden the other day, she was saying how like the streetlights, that was really eye opening to know that like we didn't have streetlights for 2 years. And how
it's a long time.
Yeah. And how, she's like, we would have had streetlights right away. Somebody would have called and it would have, and so just open your eyes to different things and, seeing how people in areas of poverty and seeing how, specifically inner city spaces like run and work and, how like some things don't make sense. And so asking those questions and, just opening your eyes and being able to reflect on it. I think that's definitely doing something too. Cause then you can get into, okay, why is this happening? And, what can we can do like the design thinking process.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So, the next time the government shuts down and there's no SNAP or somebody gets in power and decides that they don't want to do that anymore, I would say continue to have the disposition where you're looking to make a difference.
Yeah.
Because even if, she's going to have her stuff fully, as far as I know, everything gets back funded and is fully funded and is back to normal.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that life is easy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot harder to live on $30,000 a year than it is to live on $130,000. And if you live on $130,000, maybe there's a little bit of that 130 that you could use strategically when the opportunity arises to help somebody that, makes 30, you know?
Yeah.
Meg, you got anything you want to plug? It's about time to go.
I think I would say, I don't know if I plugged this recently, but we are going to be doing some things for We Got This for the holidays, like we're doing a coat and warm weather drive right now. Mittens, gloves. I mean, think about, if you have kids, think about how many times your kids have lost their gloves. Like every kid loses their gloves.
I lose my gloves.
Give some gloves. Give some gloves so this 10-year-old mom can just not have to worry about gloves. I feel like I'm already annoyed that Dex is going to lose multiple pairs of gloves and I'm going to buy a multi-pack. Why not? So gloves, mittens, hats, scarves, and then even a lot of adults in the neighborhood have asked. A lot of moms have been like, could I have a coat too? And,
sure.
I feel like that's always the thing where you're like, oh, yeah, why didn't we think of that? And so this drive goes for, if you got an extra coat that you want to get rid of, if you want to buy a coat, great. But you can drop it off at all different places, which really, really cool. A lot of different small businesses throughout the Milwaukee and beyond. So you can look that up. That is, it's not on our website, and I should. I've been like locked out of our website.
Oh, that's not good.
Due to security. I'm like, what am I doing? So I need to fix that. I'll get on and I'll update that. But if you go on the Facebook page, you can figure that out. Where to drop off the coats and hats and all gloves and all the things.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, and we will catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.